moving on. Something I want to talk about last episode, but we didn't have enough time for, was this epiphany I had about anime and manga, right? So, White Manga, a YouTuber and manga artist and co-creator of Saturday AM, which is a American-based manga publisher that publishes diverse manga, and he made a video about what is manga and the hate that his company got recently from racist people about having the first um, the first black girl manga protagonist. And if you want to hear more about that latter segment, I suggest you go check out the video. It's very insightful. I'll put the name of the video up on YouTube, but you can honestly just go to White Manga on YouTube, and you'll probably find it very quickly. It's one of his most recent videos. But here I'm gonna focus on the part about like what's a manga, right? At one point, in the first episode where we had a guest on, with my friend Eric, or our friend Eric, also known as Jump Boy on social media. He does the artwork for all of our posts, and as well as the overlay I use for the podcast itself. I talked about what I thought manga was or anime was, and like how I was really trying to dig deep and try to research and figure out like I see a difference, and there's a difference there somewhere, but it's hard for me to really put my finger on. And this video really helped me put my finger on it and get to a point where I was like, okay, that's what it is. Whereas I feel like in that previous episode, I kind of leaned towards kind of a bit of an ignorant perspective on it. But now after around over a year or something like that at this point since that episode, I've really had time to think about it. And the epiphany I've came to is that we should really start describing manga, Japanese comics versus Western comics, and anime as styles. And what I mean by that is that at the end of the day, manga and anime are comics and cartoons. We all know that. Some people like to pretend otherwise, but that is the case. Japanese people don't often differentiate between the two. To them, Spider-Man is a manga and Adventure Time is an anime. However, in countries outside of Japan, we like to differentiate them, and that's okay. I think there is a conversation to be had about the nuances between manga and other forms of comics. I mean, it's the conversation we're about to have right now. Because there is a difference that is derived from the different cultures, but a difference that can be accurately recreated, like White Manga, for example. I own the first two volumes of his manga, Apple Black, and reading it, it very much feels like, okay, if I didn't know, I would just assume this was made by a Japanese person. Like, if you put a Japanese name on this cover and told me it was made by a Japanese person, I would believe you, because it feels like it was made by someone from that culture or someone who understands that culture and the way that they tell their stories. They're essentially the same at their base level, but there's a difference in storytelling and artistic principles that make them warrant being differentiated. I think that saying comics is the medium and manga is the style, not genre, but style, is the way we could start referring to it that would help differentiate the two while still recognizing that it's not a genre. It's still just a part of that same medium. Because every culture expresses their own unique style of storytelling in every medium. For example, French films, right? That is considered, people like to differentiate the difference between French films and other types of film. But, at the end of the day, it still has the word film in it. It's still a film. It's just done in the style of the French. And, these types of labels at the end of the day are used to let people know what they're getting into when they pick up like a book or look at a movie or a show. Similar to how genres are used, except that they're not genres, which I get can be a bit confusing. The lines between what is an anime and a cartoon or a manga and a comic get more blurred every day, and someday they may become so similar in every aspect that we come up with one unifying term across all cultures and languages. But until then, we should definitely stop treating them as different genres like some people do, because they aren't. And let's not restrict the creation of manga to Japanese people, because that argument falls apart real fast when you have creators outside of Japan who can accurately recreate the Japanese style of comic and animation. So, yeah, that's a bit of an epiphany I came to, that I felt like the word style was a very easy way to go to describe the difference between manga and Western comics. They're just different styles of comics. An American style of comic, Japanese style of comic, or like manhwa, which is like Korean style of comic. And recently we've been getting a lot of like more media similar to that out of China. Like we're getting a lot of Chinese video games. We're starting to get some Chinese comics, some Chinese anime, like that one anime we talked about a while ago. I forget what it's called, but yeah. In the episode where Takira was on, we talked about an anime out of China. But yeah, any thoughts?
Not really. You completely went just in a completely different direction than what I was expecting.
What was you expecting?
Not that. That's for sure.
Was there nothing that popped in your head when I said that? What was your?
No.
I mean, that's not.
Not really. No.
That's not what you were expecting. But you weren't expecting anything.
I don't know what I was expecting, but it certainly wasn't that. That's probably the best way to put it.
Okay. Well, moving on.
I didn't know you watched Wyatt manga, though. That's cool.
You said what?
I said I didn't know you watched Wyatt manga, though. Cool.
Oh yeah, I've been watching Wyatt manga almost since he started, really.